What's good, y'all? This be your pretty boy, Mr. Showtime. Mr. Showtime, pretty boy, bless. Back at it with another video. It's called Top 10 Terrifying Roads in India that should be closed. Let's get into it. It's crazy. Like these roads and stuff. Let's jump into it.
You don't just get a great workout, you get a great perk out because your membership is packed with perk.
Every time we step outside, we are taking a risk. Step into a car, that danger increases. Not trying to make everyone paranoid about leaving the house. Do leave your house, experience the world, get some fresh air, but always stay alert, especially on the roads I'll be covering on this list. What's the most dangerous road you've ever driven on? Let me know in the comments. And with that said, we're taking a trip to India to count down the top 10 terrifying roads in India that should be closed. And we're kicking things off with the Gata Loops. Located on the Manali-Leh Highway, this stretch of road isn't just dangerous due to the nature of its layout, it's also apparently haunted. Great start. Twisty, turny, accident-prone road that also happens to have a ghost popping out to distract you. That's not very ideal, is it? Let's start by taking a look at this incredibly windy road. Yikes. This is a stretch of road featuring 21 hairpin bends. Each loop measures 300 to 600 meters, and the stretch runs about 10
That's crazy.
kilometers. As you approach the 19th loop, you may see a series of plastic water bottles and empty cigarette boxes on the side of the road. This is known as the Ghost Temple, a shrine built to appease the ghost
I
of
don't
the
think
ancient
so.
loops. The story goes that back in
They need to go clean that
1999,
up.
two truckers were driving down the road when it suddenly started to snow. Their vehicle broke down. One of the men decided to leave the truck and make his way to the nearest village for help, and the other man stayed behind to watch all the stuff. And the first man, he did manage to find a village, but the weather just continued getting worse and ended up being stranded there for a few days. By the time he and some other villagers were able to make it back to the truck, the other man had succumbed to the extreme cold and was buried beside the road. And some traveling the road claim to see a man in tattered clothing begging for water on the side of the road, but he vanishes out of thin air as people get closer. Number 9, Zoji La Pass. Located in the Himalayas, Zoji La Pass is notorious for its nerve-wracking drop. It's at an elevation of 3,536 meters or 11,600 feet above sea level, and it's on the boundary of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. The road is narrow, it's just one lane, and it's basically just a rocky dirt road. The gradients are steep, and the weather is unpredictable. There are very high winds there and heavy snowfall during winter. The snow and ice obviously make it treacherous, and landslides and mudslides are very common. One mistake, and you
I
could
couldn't even
be
do this.
a goner. It's an important road for the people of Ladakh, but you need to be a very skilled driver and use tremendous caution in order to navigate the challenging twists and turns. Next on the list, we have Kali Hills. If you thought the loopy road was too windy, then take a look at this nightmarish road. Yeah, this one features 70 hairpin bends. Now, as dangerous as the road is, this one may be worth it for you. There's a series of gorgeous waterfalls and 2 ancient temples along this road, so it's not without its perks. But back to the dangerous parts, because that's why we're all here, right? The road, like many on this list, is
That's
very
some
narrow.
turns.
The ascent is steep, and there are also apparently tons of potholes and patches. This combined with how sharp the turns are, you have a pretty treacherous drive on your hands. This mountain range also has a pretty ominous nickname, the Death Mountains, so that doesn't sound very promising. Now it's time for a road with 100 hairpin turns. At number 7, we have the 3-level zigzag road. Alright, take a look at this. It's lovely, or really beautiful, but my god, it looks like a nightmare to drive. In the Indian state of Sikkim, you'd find this dizzying road near the small village of Zuluk.
Listen, there's a good chance somebody's trying to hack your website right now. You gotta make sure you're covered. I'm talking about
Zuluk, stretching 30 kilometers, this road features a
know
number of
about this
unexpected
road.
drops, sharp turns, making it
Sharp turns,
incredibly
drops,
treacherous. Those who have driven along this path also report it to be pretty nauseating, which is not surprising. I can only imagine how grueling this drive would be for people who are prone to car sickness and now have to deal with this snake-like twisty, turny road. But once you make it to the top, the view is apparently breathtaking. I don't know though. I think I'm alright looking at this one from a distance. Next up we have Merrill to Matharan Road. This road, approximately 9 kilometers in length, connects the town of Merrill to the hill station of Matharan in Maharashtra. Now it does offer some picturesque views, but this comes with a cost. First off, the road's narrow width poses a significant hazard. It can barely accommodate one vehicle at a time, and traffic moving in both directions has to share this very limited space. This often results in traffic jams, bottleneck situations, making navigation very perilous. The road also has a number of hairpin bends and steep inclines, so it requires careful maneuvering. The road's notorious for how steep it is. Brakes can easily overheat on the descent, and inadequate safety measures also play a role. There are guardrails here, at least on certain stretches of the road, but not on all of it. So only the most skilled of drivers should be maneuvering along this road. Number 5, Changla. The Changla Road in India stands as one of the world's highest motorable passes, connecting Leh to Pangong Lake in the Ladakh region. Once again, we have the altitude factor here. Height is scary and dangerous. It rises to an elevation of about 5,360 meters, so reduced oxygen levels and altitude sickness can come into play. Changla Road is also prone to rapid weather changes. Snowfall, blizzards, freezing temperatures can occur unexpectedly, making the road slippery and visibility poor. But even then, most of the year, there's ice on the road, so there's a high likelihood of skidding and accidents going on. The road's condition itself is another concern. It's often narrow and winding, with sections lacking proper barriers. This leaves vehicles very vulnerable to the sheer drops on the roadside, and the road frequently suffers from landslides and rock falls, obstructing the road and increasing the risk of being, crushed by boulders. Next up, we have Rotang Pass. This road is only open about half of the year, as the harsh winter weather makes it incredibly dangerous. But even at the best of times, it can be treacherous. At peak season, you have bumper-to-bumper traffic to deal with, and the more cars on the road, the more chance there is of an accident. But there are also winding bends, steep areas, rock falls, and during monsoon season, even though there are less cars on the road, it's incredibly slippery and wet. Not only that, it's also very high up, and surprise, surprise, no guardrails protecting you from plummeting to your death. So you gotta really pay attention along here. The road has claimed countless lives, but despite how tough of a drive it can be, the scenery is apparently what makes it worth it. And looking at pictures online, I definitely agree. Snow-capped misty mountains, it's gorgeous. Then number 3, we have Kardung La Pass. This is one of the highest motorable roads in the world at 17,582 feet, or 5,359 meters. So obviously, the scariest part about this road is the sheer height of it. There aren't any guardrails either, so again, one false move could mean your death. And to make matters worse, the road can be very icy. And it's mostly unmaintained, so it can be very slippery. You can find lots of videos online of brave folks motorbiking on this road and wiping out. When it's not snow and ice you're dealing with, it's the rocky nature of the road. Not a road you can speed down without, dying. And to make matters even worse, there are some sharp turns along here too, so it's not just nature you gotta deal with, but other vehicles. Easy to turn a corner and come face to face with an impending crash if you're not careful. In at second place, we have Umling La. So we talked about one of the highest motorable roads in the world. So where is the highest? Yep, it's also in India. It's this one, if you haven't already figured that out. Umling La in Ladakh stands at an elevation of approximately 19,300 feet, or 5,883 meters above sea level. This treacherous mountain pass is notorious for its extreme and rapidly changing weather conditions, ranging from blizzards to sudden drops in temperature. These conditions cause quite the challenge to drivers and vehicles attempting to navigate through the region. The road itself is a gravel track, often narrow and precarious, with steep drops on one side. Its elevation and lack of proper infrastructure make it a perilous route as well, even for experienced drivers. And the high altitude results in lower levels of oxygen, increasing the risk of altitude sickness, dizziness, and breathing difficulties. So for those who aren't used to these types of heights, this can be a major hurdle to overcome. And the remote location of the pass means that medical assistance and rescue operations are limited and can take a long amount of time to reach the area. And coming in at our top spot is Kilar to Kishtwar Road. First of all, the road is incredibly narrow. Only one car can pass at a time. Now, this wouldn't be a huge deal if it weren't for the fact that it's a mountain road with no guardrail to keep you from tumbling over the edge. It's also a very windy road. So there are a lot of blind spots. It's not just the 1,000-foot fall you have to worry about either, though. On the other side of the road, the Rocky Mountain is there, which hangs over certain parts of the road and stretches, and the road is also unmaintained. So there's loose soil, very easy to get stuck, especially after heavy rainfall. There are steep declines and inclines, and there are rocks obstructing the road because on top of all this danger that we already have, there are landslides. So there is an inherent risk, once again, driving anywhere. But on this road, the risk is considerably higher, and your life is legitimately on the line. This may not only be the most dangerous road in India, but in the entire world, and that's why it's taking that #1 spot. All that said, I've been your host, James, and I'll catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next video.
I hope y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe. We out this bitch.